Hello, 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 everyone. This
Hello,
is
hello.
Tanika, and I am the Mindful Coach. And I have a special guest tonight. His name is Michael, and he is a California multimedia artist. He's a writer, advisor, and he was born in Vienna, Austria. His main goal in life is to find more of himself, and we could all learn something from that. We all, I'm sure, could learn a little bit more and find more of ourselves. And this is what he applies in every part of his life, especially in all his artistic expressions. Michael found art is the most effective tool to achieve this. So for this first interest, his was to discover how things really worked, and he researched how art works and helped discovering him allow him allowed him to grow exponentially. If this resonates with you, then listen up, grab a pen and paper, take some notes. This is, as he says, the cherry on top. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for being a guest of Mind Your Business, Mindful Intentions, Nurture,
Hi,
and Thrive Your
Tanika.
Business.
Hi. Yeah.
How are
I'm
you?
so glad to be here. Yeah, because I think podcasts are changing the world. I think it's not about so much that how many listeners you get, but I think you find the listener find the right podcast. And it's like it's not about how many people like you or how famous you are and how much money, because there is no money in this. It's basically it's a superpower. I think it's a superpower like art is, and I found that art is a superpower. We just don't know how it works because artists have never defined themselves as a superpower.
Yeah.
I'm an artist since I'm a little kid. That was basically my religion. It was the where I was accepted, where I wasn't. I was dyslexic and stuttered, and I couldn't fit in. I couldn't learn anything, and the artist community always. I felt comfortable at home there, and nobody was judging me or anything because you just that's till today. You're in the artist community. It doesn't matter if you're a woman, a man, any race or thing. You just create together, and so that's why I say that artists are the stewards of humanity's being. The beingness of humanity is are the stewards. The artists are the stewards of that, and we know alone that it's a universal language. Everybody understands art. If you make a little drawing, the people in Japan or Alaska or anywhere will understand that drawing. So it's already a universal, very uh, spiritual, actually, language. And I think that's it shows that we are all connected. For example, so because systems have separated us so they can handle us because we are unlimited. We are limitless human beings. And it first divided genders, then it divided us in race, because not because of a bad thing. They wanted to just handle us. And then sexualities. And we are so adaptable that we believe that and whatever. But a cat doesn't ask, hey, it's a black cat, it's a white cat, it's a checkered black or green cat. It doesn't matter. It's a cat. So we must always think about we are humans first about the human, not gender, race, or anything. And then the language that we all understand is art, and that's why I think it's such a superpower, because it brings us always to humanity, no matter how much. If you are a CEO and you work 60 hours a week, and what do you do on the weekend? You either tinker with your car in the garage, go in your garden, or do some play with other human beings, because you want to come back to humanity. Because you're told to be successful, you have to be inhumane, like a robot, and then you come back, and you have to get very serious, right? You have to be serious in the business, but life is not serious. When five girls come together, or five guys, the first thing is they're just joking around, right? That's the first thing. So the norm is to be joking and funny, not serious. Serious is something conditioned also by the systems. And it's because they wouldn't get attention, because a human gets attention. But a system, you got to be serious to judge everything. It's got to be serious. So it's actually, we lose our humanity because life is play. And
Yeah.
the most successful people, they play. They're not like, I need to push through.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it is so important that we see that. We see the humanity. We are enough doing. We don't need to do more. And that's why I say they should listen twice to this podcast, because it's not about doing anything more. It's a consciousness crisis. We are not in a doing or buying another app or buying a new technology or changing your. It's not. It's a consciousness crisis. We gotta see we need each other, inclusive, not exclusive.
Absolutely.
In,
And I really believe, as listening to you talk, I just saw, just the beauty in art is just an expression of freedom. And it's just a natural inheritance that it gives you a voice that is unspoken, but it's so profound because, like you said, it's a universal language and it connects and
yeah.
you understand and it can heal and it can bridge gaps. And so, I mean, it's just important that we understand. I have a daughter that is going into the 10th grade and she likes art history, and I'm very excited about that. And so,
Mhm.
she's a little bit laid back and shy, but when it comes to the art and the history of it, she's really intrigued, and she really can draw too. All of my girls can, but she really is taking a liking to that, and she wants to explore it, and she gets excited about it because it's like, oh, this is real, but it's like it's stillness, but it's in life when you can see it you
Mhm.
know so I definitely get that, and I'm grateful that you wanted to come on and help to correlate how art and humanity are one and
One.
the same. Yes.
One and the same, and it's an inherent superpower. So if somebody is a businessman and says, "Oh, I'm not an artist, I'm a businessman," you wouldn't even call yourself a businessman if you wouldn't be creative, right? You wouldn't even. So everybody's an artist. It's inherent in us, but it's seen not as, the systems don't see it as value, and artists have never defined their own value. So what happens is we don't know how to speak it. When you go to a plumber and say, "Why am I paying you $5,000?" He says, "I get you a new bathtub, I get you this or this." An artist, "Oh, I got a prize and I was at this show." Who cares? Who cares? There's no. But when you say, for example, that art, for example, this is what I always get the wisdom out and then put it in my podcast it's called Smart of Art. It's 30 seconds. It's just 20 seconds just to make you think and realize how powerful we are. For example, you cannot say if a woman did this, what race did the artwork, music or a thing. You cannot say for 100%, was this a black artist, white artist, Chinese? Was he a painter that is a kid? Was it a painter that was a woman? And that's the proof. It's not only the universal language, but it is the proof that we're not supposed to be segregated. It's inclusive and it proves that every day to us, but we don't see it. It's like when you look at a fountain. You remember you're going on a fountain and the sun shines, all of a sudden you see a rainbow.
Hmm.
If you look at the fountain, you're not going to see the rainbow. So it's a perception.
Hmm.
And I try to give perception. I show the rainbow of what we have already, because it's not out there. It's in us.
Yeah.
As it's all in us. We find it in us. We have to just look for it in us. And
Yeah.
art shows you that.
And so once we've been locked into the system for so long, what do you say is a good way to start unplugging from that to be able to look within to explore that creative side inside of you?
First of all, you have to see it and you feel it anyway. You feel when I speak, you feel it. That's why communication is a superpower. Healthy communication, not "I'm right to you're wrong." That's system talk. And say, "Hey, there's your uniqueness and there's my uniqueness. And we have different opinions. But out of the different opinions comes a third opinion that is even more powerful. It's neither mine nor yours." And so you talking, looking at art, what is art showing us, and understanding what are we seeing in art. We seeing when an artist creates not for the market, when he creates because he wants to be artistic. Even your daughter, when she wants to do something little, she's in touch with, I want to do a house, I want to do a family scene or something. And she's in touch with God's matrix universe. And she's interacting, communicating with that secret language, right? She's interacting. That language that is above all other languages. And when the person in the product basically is a physical representation of that communication with God, with with God, with matrix, with universe. And then you bring that and the other person sees that. He recognizes the God in himself.
Mm-hmm.
He recognizes that he's an artist too, the creator,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's
Yeah.
the part of the creator, which fits with all religions, and you recognize that in that painting. And that's why I say, I don't care. I pay $1 million for this, because there's no price for it. There's no, and that's why I'm saying you can have a Rembrandt next to, and then a finger painting from your daughter, and the finger painting touches you, and you say, okay, the skill of the thing is better, but Rembrandt, but what really touches me is the child, the finger painting of the child. And that's what's so great. And by the way, you said your daughter or kid is slow. It's not slow. It's quiet. They thought that Einstein was quiet, was actually handicapped mentally. They thought because he was quiet till 4 or 5 years, he was really quiet. And his mom and his aunt thought he was mentally not okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean quiet in that way. I mean, she's just laid back and shy, and
Exactly.
she just keeps to herself or whatever. But she talks, and she knows
She's not
how to
crazy.
she knows how to present things.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think, if she explores art, she'll really be able to get into it and really understand how to explain it as well as you are. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I think also, though you speak of that, I know I've worked with some children with autism though. And I
Mhm.
do know that art is a big help with children that are autistic, and helping them to be able to
Yeah.
feel, touch, and see things in action. Can you say anything about that as far as
Yes.
how that helps the children?
As a matter of fact, the Alzheimer's Association, I think 4 years ago or so, I'm not sure when, accepted that art is a prescription. Like you can either pop a pill or have art. It's a major breakthrough that actually artists are not aware of, and the society either. But actually, because the results are so good that they say you can either pop a pill or do art exercise,
Huh.
which is actually I think one of the first time with art creation, because the whole power is in the art creation. It's not in the product. Once the product is done, it's like a bicycle. You throw it on a market. If people buy it or find that, that like to it, they will buy it. But the real value is in the creation. And as any mind things, any handicaps that you have with your mind, like dyslexia with me, So what happens is art brings you in the moment. And when you're in the moment, there's no spiritual exercise except breathing that brings you in the moment as much as art. See, nobody
Oh
talks
my
about this.
goodness.
You know,
That is awesome.
no, because when you focus on creation, even look at your kids, when they focus on it, they don't hear you. The time goes by because then you're shifting into time and space. And what that happens is that's the connection to
Yeah.
yourself, to your higher
Yeah.
self, right? To
Yeah.
God, to universe. And that's why they get healed. They heal themselves basically. When you're in the moment, I know another coach that promotes very much that when you're in the moment, you can get off depression,
Yes.
and all this stuff. So the creation of art, it's not, I don't care what comes out. I don't care of the product. The product is the market. And then it shifts from basically the magic of creation into a product, and then it goes to the market. And the market does something with it. Don't worry about the market. And that's when I say kids, for example, you don't buy them a piano or saxophone or anything. You rent a piano, because kids they need to figure out what is the best alignment with their essence. When they say, okay, I'm really good. For example, I tried the guitar. I was horrible. 2 years I tried to play guitar. I could not compartmentalize, my mind and my brain coordination of hands was off. And then I went to percussion, and I was a virtuoso. I played with all groups, and I mean, I was all over. But in with the guitar, I couldn't do anything. And I had already an electric guitar that I bought and worked for and whatever. Never, I could not make that work. So what I say with kids is a lot of trying till because you want to have them stick to something. I
Yes.
still play percussion. You want them because when everything fails, they can still take the guitar out or the drum or the saxophone or piano, and it reminds you, brings them back into whatever crisis, getting divorced or whatever. They're going back to that, and it brings them back to home.
Hmm.
And our mental disturbance or diseases currently, or disturbance. I call them disturbance more. It's just so sad, heart
Yeah.
wrenching.
Yeah.
The shooting up of people, or whatever. Because we become robots. We are
Hmm.
such doings. We're losing that being in ourselves, and you know,
You
it's a
know,
sad thing.
I totally get it because I actually am certified in NLP and I'm certified life coach and mindfulness teacher. And it's funny when you talk about how art puts you in the moment and you're in the present and how you're just in peace at peace and when you're just breathing. I thought about that because I'm like, I'm not an artist. But there are some times when I just go into like meditation mode and I'll start painting because I have like a lot of art supplies because I like to just
Yeah,
doodle and paint and play
yeah.
and paint and I will just start drawing
Hmm.
and then I'm just like amazed because wow, how did I draw this? Because I visualized something in my head and then I made it come to life on paper just by seeing it and was able to draw it out. But the whole time I'm just focusing on the breath and just taking those strokes, back and forth and just being in that moment and being present. And I think when we take that time to just be in that moment, we can discover so many things about ourselves. And like you said, it's not that you're not this businessman, but the reason why you are that businessman is because of this creativity that is inside of you that helps you to what we can say perform. Because
Hmm.
we're putting on some type of display anytime we're engaging in any situation,
Yeah.
correct?
Hmm.
Yeah.
No, and the you feel so at peace. You see, the mindfulness is a good thing, but it's also a word, a system
Hmm.
word. So
Hmm.
basically, if you just do, because wisdom comes from experiencing, and I am totally on wisdom. I say, try it, do this, and then you will experience being in the moment.
Yes,
Because I can say you can meditate 20 years and not finding how to be in a moment.
that
You can
is
do.
true.
You can
You have to
whatever
want to
meditation
be.
is. Yeah,
Yeah, you have to want to
that's
be
an
in that
experience.
moment.
That's an
Yeah.
experience. And once you experience to be in the moment, and what the moment is the way to find peace. And when you have peace, when you experience peace, what happens then, what happened to me, is that all the issues of life, you can scan them through. So when I achieve peace, when I get first in the moment, and you don't achieve peace all the time, but when you achieve it, you can scan all your problems, everything you don't like, and it has no pull, because you resonate so much in the oneness, that's the peace. You feel your peace of God connecting with
Yes.
with humanity, with the whole world. And so all the stuff has no pull. It doesn't matter if you're divorcing or if you're bankrupt or whatever. It has no pull. If you're pissed at a person, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't exist. And it's so hard if you don't experience that. When you're in peace. This is what I
Hmm.
suggest. When in peace, when you can scan, when you feel really good. Obviously you go in the moment first. You feel good, and then you scan all your stuff, and you will
Yeah.
say nothing has pull.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how you. That's how you experience
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah. Because a lot of times we like to keep regurgitating our stuff. We like
Yeah.
to keep rehashing it and going back to it and
Hmm.
bringing it out instead of addressing it. And it is what it is. And like you say, it's there. And now
Hmm.
you can be at peace with it because you can scan all of it and it's not
Yeah.
affecting you.
Exactly.
at all. I was listening. One day I was in the kitchen and I heard it was a pastor that was on television, and he was talking about forgiveness, and he was saying, how forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you, and we know that. But he was like, but how you know that you've truly forgiven, other than just saying it, is
Yeah.
when you can be in the same presence of someone that you feel like you've been betrayed by, and you
Mhm.
can see past all of that, and
Yeah.
not look at it as you hurt me or
Yeah.
anything, but you've experienced it, and
Yeah.
I'm through it now. and
Exactly.
and, and
And
it's,
that's wisdom.
yeah.
That's that because when you run the picture, so you see the person that you forgiven, and you start and your mind starts running the thing, and nothing happens. You know you have forgiven them. I mean, you say, okay, I mean, you're never gonna say, oh, I don't know any. I forgave him. I don't know that he betrayed me. But you look at that and you look at him, and you can run even the story how he betrayed you or she, and you don't feel anything.
Yeah.
And you're not aloof. You're not aloof. You're not ignoring it. It's just the other side too. When you feel peace, you're not ignoring it. It says, "Oh, I'm gonna just numb myself out and not feel anything."
Hmm.
You can engage in the stories, like I don't have money, I don't have my wife, I don't have this, I don't have this, and nothing pulls. There's no
Hmm.
pull from anywhere
Yeah.
because this is so dominant that it doesn't. It's nothing. It's like watching not even a movie because you're more engaged in a movie than in your own stuff.
Right. So, to someone that is watching this right now, that's saying, okay, I get it. You have been an artist since childhood. This has been in you. This is just who you are. But how is that going to help me? What would you tell that person?
What we know as art is all humans. What we know what art is the business. So you judging it from what sells. I couldn't even call myself an artist till I was 35. And then I did my resume and I said all my jobs were art, right? And I couldn't fit into systems because I was either too dumb or whatever. I couldn't understand it. And so it's the art creation. It's not what the product is worth to society, to a system. Because then if you produce art for the system, that's a job, and it's not very successful. There's very few people that really can successfully produce for the system art. Because I told you 95% of artists worldwide are on the poverty level. And more artists, more and more people come to be artists. So if somebody says, I said, what do you like? You can start with music. If you like music, then listen to music. Just give yourself some time, even behind, because even when you listen and have when you do accounting and you listen to music, it puts you in the moment, and your accounting is going to be better.
Hmm.
So connect with the muses. Connect with the music. Go in a. I mean, if you don't like theater, go when your child, for example, plays. Go to the play and be present. Don't be on an iPhone and say, what am I seeing here? What is the magic? When you go in a museum, you don't have to watch every painting. Go to the paintings that resonate with you. We think too much. We feel too little. And what happens is the pivot shifts over, and we now creating feelings from our thoughts. We completely ignore the innate feeling that we have because system says you got to think yourself through. You got to think. But now what happened is it pivot over, and now our feelings that we feel are not from our feelings. This is a mean person or something. No, our feelings are now from the thoughts. This could be a mean person.
Hmm.
So, and that you need to also be conscious of. So, what I suggest to anybody that wants to get in the moment and wants to look for wisdom, because all knowledge is pointing to wisdom. Wisdom is not verbal, so you have to experience it. And we are human beings, and that's why I keep saying human beings. That's why art, keeps the steward out, the steward of the beingness that we are. And we're not thinkers. We can think when we have a problem, we have a flat. Okay, what am I going to do now? But that's to an extent what you think. Or you have a problem, you need to think that in a business thing, but you don't. We think too much, And then look where your thoughts come from a mind construct, because society says, oh my God, we have the third world war, COVID, this, or are you feeling this is good or this is bad or whatever? And we have to be conscious. That's an experience of being conscious. Are we thinking this feeling now, or is this feeling genuine? You know, it's like saying, I say always this, when your spouse don't put the toilet seat down, it's not that he doesn't love you. He can be a flake, he can be lazy, he can be, anything, so never put two things together. That's always getting us in trouble, because this, and that's thinking that, that when you say that he didn't put the toilet seat down, you and your mind, you're not in your feeling, and your mind betrays you because he loves you. He's just tired, he's spaced out, whatever, and he's a slob. Even you can say that, but it has nothing to do with your love. What has that to do with loving you?
Absolutely.
And so to catch these things, and I say, really, if you listen a couple times to this podcast, that's all you have to do, because you got to get yourself mind, and then listen to my podcast too, because everything that I say about art is about human.
Tell us how to find your podcast.
It's you go to the easiest way is go to michaellm.com, and Michaell is with two L's, so michaellm.com. And there is my 5 books that I wrote. There is my music. There is all my social media. There is my books, everything. Yeah. And that's where you can get it. And I encourage everybody to just, because that's twice, 40 seconds a week. It's not anything you have to do. You just think. Art brings everybody together. Art shows us the heaven on earth. It's just one thing. It has nothing to do, because I'm so against doing more, because it not gets us into being, So this is what I suggest,
I totally agree with you. We do a lot, and it's usually wheels in motion, running around doing a lot and nothing's getting accomplished. And so
yeah.
again, overthinking things and reading too much into things when we can just be.
Yeah.
So Michaell, we thank you so much for coming on tonight and just expressing your voice through art and helping people understand how to be more creative within themselves and being able to bring that to light, because it's important in connecting us. Is there anything that you would like to leave us with, or any other words before we get out of here?
I would suggest everyone to really contemplate that. Every choice you make, every decision you make, everything you buy or whatever, always keep in mind, humans, number one, our habitat, nature, number two, and wisdom. Focus on those 3 things, then you are with God, then you're with the universe, then you're the matrix, and everything is inclusive. There's no differences, not even gender.
And it always boils down to this. This sums it all up. Love one another. Now, thanks for tuning in tonight. This is Mindful Intentions, Nurture and Drive Your Business. So go out there. Remember, you were created with a purpose. So mind your business and be creative. Thank you. God bless. We'll
Thank
see
you.
you real soon. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.